Once they get into the Holy Land, Deborah, the prophetess, about 140 years later, led Israel to victory over a king named Jabin of Hazor. Hazor was a Canaanite city in the northern part of Israel, most powerful Canaanite city-state in the land during the period of the Judges. This is why I love archaeology. Archaeologists have discovered inscriptions in Assyria and in Babylon naming this king, Jabin. It was spelled differently because they spoke a different language. It was Ibni Adu, which is Akkadian, meaning Jabin Hadad. Hadad was the name of the Syrian storm god that they called Baal. Apparently, Jabin was an honor, like a hereditary title, like king or pharaoh. The Jabins of Hazor, because some of these inscriptions that they found go back a couple hundred years before this battle. The Jabins were like I said, like a title, and they were Baal worshipers. But here's an interesting thing, a little detail that we skip over usually when we read the story about Deborah and the armies of Israel led by Barak and how they go and defeat the chariots of Jabin. Judges 5, verse 20, from heaven the stars fought. From their courses they fought against Sisera. Now that doesn't mean the heavens aligned in a certain way. In Old Testament language, the stars represent angels. You see this in the book of Job, where the angels, the sons of God, the B'nai Elohim, are called stars. The stars fought. There was a spiritual battle taking place there by the river Kishon in the plain of Megiddo. The torrent Kishon swept them away. The ancient torrent, the torrent Kishon. That's Judges 5:21. But as would happen when the Israelites got fat and happy after 40 years of rest, the Midianites and the Amalekites come back and make them miserable again. And then rises Gideon. Gideon's father worshipped Baal. He had to destroy his father's altar, after which Gideon was nicknamed Jeroboam, which means let Baal contend with him. Because the men wanted to have Gideon's father brought out so they could kill him for destroying Baal's altar. And Gideon's father said, let Baal contend with him. He destroyed Baal's altar, let Baal deal with him. But as soon as Gideon died, Israel again turned back to the Baals and according to Scripture, made Baal Berith their god, Lord of the covenant. Now Gideon, he had some issues. He had 70 sons and wasn't a very good dad, apparently. He refused the offer of kingship. The Israelites wanted to make him the king because he was so successful, just the 300 men and took out all of the Midianites. But he did take about 40 pounds of gold that they captured from the Midianites, and he made his own golden ephod. The ephod was a thing worn by the high priest. So he's kind of set himself up as the high priest, and according to the Bible, all Israel whored after it. And he named his son by a Canaanite concubine Abimelech, which means my father the king. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And of course, Abimelech then got his Canaanite half-brothers together, and they slaughtered the other 70 sons of Gideon. Moving ahead, Jeroboam, he was the rebel against Rehoboam, the son of Solomon. Jeroboam didn't want the people in the northern tribes going to Jerusalem because he was afraid they'd fall under the power of the king of Judah. So he set up golden calves at Bethel and Dan. He made priests from among the common people, the Levites. They all went south. So by the way, if anybody says, this theory about the 10 northern tribes being taken away, no, the Levites all went south to Judah to serve at the temple. Jeroboam also sacrificed to idols, and he changed the dates of the festivals, and these are the festival dates that were established by God. And so for doing this, God said, that's it, I'm cutting off your line. God struck him down. So who was this Baal anyway? Now, Baal, if you read the Old Testament, you notice that there are more than one Baal, and there are times when the Israelites are accused of following the Baals or the Baalim. Baal is simply a Canaanite word, a Hebrew word that means Lord or master. There was Baal Peor, Baal Shemin, Baal Haman, Baal Berith, and a number of others. The Baal of the Bible, most often referred to, was the chief god of the Canaanites, the Amorites. This is the one that normally was referred to back in the day as Hadad. Hadad was a storm god of the Canaanites, the West Semitic. There are a number of Aramean kings that caused problems for the northern kingdom of Israel after the split between the two kingdoms. Names like Ben-Hadad, meaning son of Hadad, or Hadad-Itzer, meaning Hadad is my help. Hadad apparently got to a point where his priests decided that speaking his name was unholy, and so they started calling him Baal or Baal, meaning Lord, just like we call God the Lord. Same thing. Or Adonai, which means Lord. When you think about it, it's pretty arrogant, isn't it? I mean, Yahweh is Lord, and here you've got this second-tier supernatural entity encouraging his followers to call him Lord.